What's up guys, Anfield here. Welcome back to a new video. So today's video is going to be a continuation of the garage overview series that I've been doing. We're going to look at the remaining tier 10s. Now originally I was going to add the tier 8s into this video, but it was really long when I first recorded it. The reason that I'm not using that recording is because I forgot to turn on the microphone. So yeah, we're doing it again, and I'm just going to do the tier 10s because it was a really long recording. I do have a video also on the new game mode frontline that's on the sandbox, but because you need permission to post it, I'm still waiting for that. So yeah, 3 days in, still no permission, no word or anything. I guess because I'm not a big EU content creator, I don't get to post it immediately. I'm a little bit salty. So yeah, that kind of sucks, but hopefully it'll be able to be posted soon. I'll just publish it as soon as I get permission so you guys can take a look at the new game mode. Anyway, onto this video. We're going to start with the TVP, which is the only Czech tank at tier 10 that there is in the game. Unfortunately, we don't have any Czech heavies. Whether they have a potential line, I don't know. It's an interesting line, and actually it's weird because I prefer the Skoda to the TVP. I don't really know why. TVP is a bit of a weird one because I really actually do appreciate how good the tank is, but I don't know, I just don't really enjoy playing it all that much. Kind of like the Batchat. Although the difference here is the TVP actually does have a reliable gun, but not quite so much fire potential. It's an interesting and kind of fun tank to play. It has a really quick overall reload, and obviously the intercut reload is only 1.5 seconds, so it's really fast at getting its shots off. Obviously, I just made a third mark video on the tank that were replays sent to me by Val from the Southeast Asia server, and you know, you can see just how good the tank is, but I don't know, I just never really clicked with it, I guess, and I think I do need to take it out again, but I think it's worth it. If you're looking for an auto-loading medium, and the Batchat doesn't really take your fancy because the poor gun handling, I think the TVP is worth an effort because it really is kind of a cool tank. Very, very unique, and you don't really see them all that often, but they are pretty good. The only really downside with this tank is the penetration is not very good with APCR. I mean, the heat pen is okay. 310 is not too bad, and it's a little bit better, but the APCR pen is a real big letdown for this tank, which is the only real issue the tank has, other than the fact that it's quite big. It's a pretty big tank. The overall DPM is quite good with rations. The problem is I can't see the full DPM because I don't have brothers in arms. So unfortunately we don't get the full DPM, but I think it does get over 3,000. So it's still pretty good despite having an autoloader. Obviously most autoloaders usually, except for like the 57 and some others, don't have great DPM. TVP is pretty good, and it's certainly much better than the Batchat. Moving on though, we have the STB1. Now this is, in my opinion, the best looking tank in the game. Now don't get me wrong, I think the Leopard is also very good looking too, and it does have an HD model, but I think the STB1 is so sleek. It's like a sports car almost, it's just really, really nice. The advantages of the shape of the tank don't just go with the aesthetic appeal, but also because, it really is a really good profile. You can poke over hills with this tank, and not a lot of it not a lot of the tank is actually exposed. When you take a look at, like, say, the M48, look at that huge thing. The SCB-1 is really nice and slender. The turret cheeks are pennable, but, they can bounce quite a lot due to the fact that, look at the sloping on it. It's really quite extreme. So yeah, it does a really good job coming over hills and getting shots off. The tank also, it kind of does suffer a little bit in the fact that the gun handling is bad, but you kind of get it made up for the fact that the DPM is so high on the tank that it does sort of cover that quite a lot. If the DPM was bad, it would really suffer, but it does do a good job at getting its damage out despite having a kind of an unreliable gun. In a lot of ways, it reminds me of the Batchat's gun, but I prefer the STB1 because while the handling is just as bad, it's not an autoloader, and you feel like when you shoot an autoloader and you're missing lots of shots because the accuracy is poor, you feel like, well, what's the point of having the autoloader because you're missing part of the clip shots, which is a huge amount of damage. Whereas if you've got a single fire shot or a shooting tank that reloads roughly around 6 seconds, what's it's not the end of the world, is it? What's the big deal? It's not so bad. So yeah, the STB1 is actually kind of a fun tank, and I actually do recommend getting the tank if you're looking for a more unique medium, because it is kind of cool, and you don't really see them that often. And I guess once you get over the gun handling, the tank is very, very good. The line itself, I actually didn't go through any of it. I went straight to the SCB-1 because I played it on the test server when it was first released, and I thought, oh, this is awesome, and I really wanted it, so I never actually played the line, although I have played both these tanks, and they're kind of mediocre. I mean, yes, Type 61s is kind of a weaker M46 in my opinion. The STA-1 is kind of lackluster too, so but the SCB-1 is definitely a worthwhile tank if you're looking for something that's 390 alpha, not really commonly owned. Now, the 121 is a really bizarre tank. It does have the largest alpha of any of the tier 10 mediums at 440, which is really high. So it is kind of fun to hit people. It's 50 higher than any of the 390 alphas, so it's, you know, it can roll quite high with this tank. So it's always amusing to shoot people with this tank. It does suffer from kind of poor gun handling, which, you know, brings it down a little bit, which is a shame. It's pretty mobile though, so that's okay. The turret is pretty usable. The two hatches aren't super easy to hit, so, you know, 240 frontal turret armor is pretty good for this tank. But it does obviously have a severe lack of gun depression. That kind of hampers it a lot. If it had good gun depression though, it would be really good, I think. So, but yeah, it's actually a pretty good tank. It's kind of fun to play in some cases because of the alpha, but it is kind of a struggle to make it work for you. Vetro is probably one of the few people I've known that's actually bothered to 3-mark this tank. You know, I do have the 3-mark video that I made for him, and you can see just what it's like seeing a Super Unicom play this tank. So it can be played, but it is a bit of a struggle, and it will resist you and fight you every step of the way. But the alpha is fun, so if you're into that sort of thing, you know, maybe it's worth it. But it is sort of like kind of an out there tank. Although what I would say is the WZ is kind of cool, and also you do have the light tanks. Although I don't know how these tech lines are going to change with the new tier 10s. Not entirely sure. I'm sure that if you were going to go for it, you'd have to go for it really fast because we're going to get 9.18 soon. And the WZ 132 is going to maybe be moved, but I'm not entirely sure, so I don't know. But the 121 itself is maybe not worth it on its own unless you're really looking for a unique tank. The 113 is basically a better 121 in many ways. It's very, very quick. Turret armor is even better. The hull armor is much better. It does lack, obviously, a little bit less DPM, same alpha, but where it lacks in those categories, the fact that the tank has more hit points, it's sturdier, really makes up for it. This tank is just like kind of your jack of all trades. It's basically using clan wards over the old IS-7 role. It being generally better than the IS-7. The only thing the IS-7 really has is the turret armor. On the IS-7 obviously is much, much better. So there's some cases where you do need this turret armor, but most cases in this kind of bruiser role, you generally take the 113. So still do see this tank a little bit in the esport format, but obviously right now we're going to get a lot of mouses, so, or mice or whatever you want to say. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't really get along with the tank all that much, but I know a lot of people that swear by this tank. Just personally for me, I guess, I don't know. I just don't really get into it that much, but it's okay. I take it out occasionally. Maybe a little bit more than the 121, but it's not too bad. I don't actually know how many battles I have in this tank. 58, so yeah. It's got a high win rate though, so I guess it has that going for it. Don't really know why. It's just random, I guess. And then we have the Kranwagen, which is my newest tier 10. When it was first released on the test server, the initial stats of this tank were insane, and it was by far and away the best tier 10 autoloader. I still have the comparison video pre-nerf to that tank in my YouTube somewhere, and it was crazy. But then they really nerfed it hard, and it did need to be nerfed, but I think maybe they hit it a little bit too hard. I don't know. It still doesn't have, it has the awesome turret, don't get me wrong, but everything else about that tank is really poor. It's kind of slow now. A little bit faster than the T57, but way slower than the 50B. The gun handling is quite poor. The in-between shots has been wrecked. I don't know. I mean, the turret, is it worth it just for the turret? Probably not. There's not always situations where you can play over hills. Also, if there's more than one angle you have to cover with the turret, it becomes useless because you're really vulnerable to being shot there, and the turret doesn't turn that quickly, so... the hull armor doesn't really work either, you know, it's not really reliable in any way. So you can't rely on that. It's all turret, and yeah, if you're not playing on a hill, then what's the point, you know? Which is a shame because otherwise the tank does have some potential. But you just basically need to use the turret armor and the amazing gun depression, and if you're not using that, then it's it's not so great, to be honest with you. Which is a shame, really, because otherwise, you know, it could be quite fun to play. The line itself is kind of poor as well, I think. I mean, I started at this tank, which I thought was okay. Everyone told me to skip the Leo, so I did. The Emil one, I didn't really like it that much. It grew on me more towards the end, but I don't know. I didn't really like it that much, and some people really do like it. So, but the Emil 2 I thought was pretty terrible. So gun handling on this thing is just horrific. The Crom does have better gun handling, but you know, still, meh. So I don't know. The final tier 10 I want to talk about in this video is a tank that I don't actually own anymore because I sold it out of protest, and that's the Type 5 Heavy. The reason I sold it was because they added this gun in the last patch. They're like, oh, you know, Type 5 is underperforming. What should we do? You know, and there was some reasonable guy in the back saying, you know, okay, maybe boost the speed a little bit so it's a little bit faster, just like we're doing with the T95, and then, you know, give it better gun stats, you know, better handling, maybe a better reload. And they're like, no, that's really dumb. Let's buff its armor so that it's even better against AP shells than before, even though it bounced most of them anyway. And then, you know, still just as weak to premium shells, regardless of how much we buffed it, because it's got too many flat angles, which you can basically do nothing about. Oops. You can do nothing about this, you know. Flat, 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 flat. Yeah, it's just... These get cheesed by APCR and heat. No amount of buffing is going to do anything unless you make it like 500. So yeah, it's dumb. Yeah, and so instead they buffed its armor pointlessly and then gave it this stupid gun. And you guys know how much I loathe HE-based mechanic guns. Yeah, and this one's even worse because they're like, yo, let's give it a standard round of 1100, but a premium round of 1400. So you're really retarded if you're using the 1100 gun. I don't know. I mean, maybe I should buy it back, you know. We're going to get tier 10 lights anyway, right? So just roll around and one-shot them all day, you know. It might be worth it just to get it for that. But that means me playing premium tanks, which, you know, is quite a rare thing. So I don't know that that's going to happen because premium tanks, bleh. Not a big fan of having to play my premiums, even though I don't mind some of them. I just don't like playing long sessions in them, so. But yeah, that's that. So if anyone wants to give me 6,100 gold, no, 6,100 gold, wow. 60, oh my god, I can't talk. This is what happens with these rambling videos, you guys. My thoughts get all muddled and I can't speak. Anyway, if anyone wants to give me 6.1 million silver, you know, okay, I'll buy it back. YOLO. But otherwise, it's not really worth it, is it? I mean, guess to run around and dirt people. I just hate these guns. I just think they're so dumb. Look, let's introduce a gun that just pens everything for like high damage without actually aiming. And, you know, people complain about premium ammo and in a lot of cases quite justly, but this is worse. You just roll around it and then just like, all right, RNG, let's see what you got for me. There's no ability in that, you know. At least premium shells you have to aim at weak points still. This shit though, no. This penned my super angled side on an E50M for 600 twice in a row. Actually, it was on the EU server. But yeah, I was side scraping like this. He penned me here, like this is a wall here. He penned me here, 600. That's good. That's really clever. Good job, Wargaming. Anyway, so if you want land arty, you know, that's a tank you could get, I guess. But yeah, that pretty much wraps up this video. I don't really have anything else I can add to it, I think, without making it too long. So we'll just do a separate video for the tier 8s and the premiums. So that'll be the final video in this series, I guess. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed a little bit of rambling. Obviously, there wasn't many tanks in this one, but so it's a bit shorter. I'm still waiting to be able to publish my sandbox video. I actually was going to wait to make this until that was done, but it's taking longer than expected, so yeah. Maybe I'll just change my name to Quickie Field and they'll get confused and they'll let me publish my video on time, but I don't know. Still salty. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I'll be back with more videos. I just kind of considering what ones I want to go for with the sandbox, because if I want to make more sandbox videos, I don't want to wait for like 5 days until I can actually publish the video that I've worked on, so it kind of sucks for me. But if you have any interesting videos you want me to make, do let me know, because I'm open to suggestions. I have a lot of ideas, but a lot of them, again, require people in training rooms, so it can be sometimes difficult. But if you guys have any videos that you're interested in me making, please do let me know. I'm always open to new ideas. And eventually, I think I'll open up replay reviews so I can get more regular content out to you guys. And when I say replay reviews, I'm not talking about the semi or bad battles and mediocre battles, and I'll see what could have been done to make them better, because not many people seem to want to send me those. So instead, we can do your show-off battles. You got me. Or we can do also hilarious battles. You know, things where something funny happens or something. I don't know. We'll just think. I'll think about it, and I'll get back to you on that. But anyways, thanks for watching. Enough rambling. Enjoy your day, and I'll see you on the battlefield.